This video is sponsored by Surfshark.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Chops Garage. It's story time again. So this video is following on from the last one where we were talking about our subscriber that recently sold a car to what you would basically call a right piece of work. So just to quickly recap in case you hadn't seen that, subscriber sold a car, £650, cheap car, sold it through Gumtree I think, and the chap came along, looked over the car, took it for a test drive, agreed a deal, purchased it, but then 2 days later started messaging our subscriber telling them that the car was unsafe to be on the road, despite the fact he'd just had an MOT before he put it up for sale. It was unsafe to be on the road and that he wanted all of his money back, but wouldn't give him any reasons as to why it was unsafe for the road. And then started bombarding our subscriber with messages telling him he was taking him to court. Now, today I actually have some of the messages and I can update you on what's happened with this deal gone bad, because the subscriber contacted me and asked me some advice, and to be honest, you cannot believe the nerve of this guy. I'm going to go through some of this stuff with you now, but briefly, just before I do that, I just need to introduce the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark.
Surfshark provides you with a virtual private network, a VPN. This VPN provides a secure internet connection that protects you and your data while online. Now, as well as keeping me safe online, one of my favourite features of Surfshark is the fact that it allows me to view content on streaming services that might not normally be available to me in my country. Now, let me show you what I mean. Now, regular viewers of the channel will know that I recently took a little break, and during that I caught up on some of the movies I wanted to watch. Now, one movie I'd heard was available on Netflix was Mindhorn from Julian Barratt, because I'm a big Mighty Boosh fan. I wanted to see that movie. So I got onto my old Netflix, searched it out, and came back with no results at all, unfortunately. So I did a little bit more research, and it turns out it is actually available in other countries. So all I did was went up to my Surfshark and changed my IP address by simply clicking on a button, scrolling down and selecting the United States. So what's happening now is Surfshark is now giving my computer an IP address from the United States, so fooling Netflix into thinking that's where I'm based. And if I now do a search again for Mindhorn, you can see it's now available to me. And I wasn't disappointed. It was as daft and silly as Mighty Boosh. So highly recommended if you're also a fan of Mighty Boosh. But without that, I wouldn't have been able to see that movie. So for that feature alone, I'm a big fan of Surfshark. Surfshark are offering Chops Garage subscribers a fantastic special offer of 83% off and 3 extra months free. To take advantage of this special offer, please use the link in the description down below and enter the promo code CHOPS. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Surfshark for being a continued sponsor of Chops Garage.
So, getting back to this case with our subscriber, as many of you mentioned in the last video, we think this is pretty much a scam, because this guy asked for all the money back and then told him within a day he'd already submitted court papers and it was ready to go to court, and then his wife messaged saying he'll actually accept half the deal. He does this all the time. He's quite happy going to court. Now, like I say, I've got some of the messages that the subscribers sent us here, and I wanted to share some of it with you. Obviously, I'll retract any names and so forth, but you have to hear some of the stuff here. So these are the messages that our subscribers have been sent after selling the car, and he's sent across to them. The first one straight away is, I've just started civil court proceedings against you. This isn't my first rodeo, brother. Apparently there's a court backlog due to COVID, but you should receive a date in the next 3 to 6 weeks. And he obviously, he then goes on to say, line doesn't sit well with him selling something to a member of the public, but doesn't specify what any of the lie is. And then, P.S. this isn't a threat. This is a notice of intent. You can avoid it by offering a full refund. Anyway, so it says, you seem to be a nice chap. I hate to have to do this to people, but what I hate more is liars. and lessons need to be taught, apparently. So our subscriber go back asking for a clarification of what basically the lie has been, recapped everything with them to, that they discussed there. And then he goes on to say that, so this guy then replies to say, I don't have to inform you. He's basically told our subscriber they recorded everything, but then he goes on to say, I don't have to inform you of any recordings. I'm making a public place. I suggest you research this. Well, his driveway isn't a public place, is it? And then he goes on to say that you screwed with the wrong monkey. This will be abundantly clear to you in coming weeks. Sadly, it'll take time for you to see this, but it's all good for me. I have a brief that's costly, just so you know. You'll be liable for his costs. So this guy's got a brief on standby, apparently, isn't he? But if you're happy to refund, this will all be good. So anyway, so our subscriber goes back again and says that, if you wish to return the car, you just need to bring it back with the logbook and so forth. But then the next thing is a message from my wife. My husband is a man of means, so although he buys £650 cars from Gumtree, he's a man of means. I don't like what he does, but I respect his need to do so. I've seen him do this 20 times. It's his hobby. Okay, so his hobby is taking people to court. Apparently he's done it 20 times. He has a barrister on standby. He's a man of means, but he buys £650 cars off of Gumtree, apparently. So if you have in your power to make things right, I suggest you do so. Absolutely classic. He has Tesla cars apparently, and Range Rovers. Don't play with him, he's obsessive, he'll end you. This is just, you couldn't write stuff, but literally it's written here. This is what this person has sent across. Just unbelievable. So then it goes on to say, so our customer goes back again saying, they made their position clear, bring it back with a V5, we'll refund you. So then the guy comes back to say he's not waiting 6 to 10 weeks for the new V5 to come through before he returns the car. He goes on to say that the car's not roadworthy, but doesn't again specify what's not roadworthy again. But now suddenly the offer drops to saying refund me 50%, and we can both go and watch the car get crushed, apparently. So now he's down to 50%. Despite the fact he thinks the car's unroadworthy, he's been lied to. He's now prepared to accept only 50% refund, and they can both watch the car get crushed. Or we can go through the courts costing thousands in legal fees, which he can cover, but can you cover that? Mr. Subscriber, can you cover the cost of it going through thousands? A lot of people don't seem to understand this, that just because you've got an expensive barrister doesn't mean, if you did have an expensive barrister, that you get refunded all your costs. The judge will look at what's fair, and if you've got something that costs an absolute fortune, he isn't going to refund you all of it. Because otherwise people would just put in all kinds of legal costs, couldn't they? So, and that's basically where it was left. So he told him to expect a court date coming through any minute. Actually, no, sorry, there's then tons and tons more messages, just looking like an absolute bombardment of messages. And then it goes on to give, at the very end, an actual date at a county court for the preliminary hearing. Now this is all within a day. Now I've had some experience in this kind of thing, and I'm not aware you can get a date quite that quickly. I might be wrong, but I'm not aware you can get a date that quickly for the preliminary hearing. Again, he hasn't sent a letter before action, which you need to do before you go through this process. So anyway, he's basically saying here that his OCE loves this kind of thing. It's never personal. He'll forward you a copy of the audio of the recording he's done, but he has to. It's his duty to sort out people like our subscriber and make sure they don't sell dust cars. So just an utter piece of work. I mean, what more can you say about it? What a piece of work. So obviously, we gave the subscriber some advice. You guys commented on the last video, and we said, this guy is just a scammer. Send him a letter just to say you'll wait for the court papers to come through, and you'll only deal with anything in writing now going forwards. You won't enter into email communications. The offer of the refund on the car is over and done with, because you didn't take him over on that. You decided to take him to court instead. So everything else will be done via the courts, if that's what you've actually done, which we don't think he has, do we? Anyway, so I caught up with our subscriber the other day, and I've got a bit of an update for you. So a subscriber updated me that he'd done exactly what we said, sent him that letter and so forth, but as we expected, the guy, these people rely on just putting pressure on you, pressure on you, pressure on you, hoping you fold, so he wasn't going to just go away. So apparently he's carried on sending messages, carried on trying to call the mobile phone, but then he's done a complete, and you won't believe this, you're not going to, so if you thought the first part of it was bizarre enough, this guy does a complete U-turn and says now that he didn't record him via one of these messages. He's told him that he didn't record him, hasn't got a recording of him, and that he has a number of mental health issues, which is why he needed a perfect car. So despite his Teslas and his Range Rovers, which are obviously new, he needed a perfect car because of his mental health issues, and chose to buy a 650 quid car from Gumtree. Now, I've got nothing against people buying cars that value. Obviously at times we've all had to have cheaper cars, so I'm not berating somebody for that. But if you need a perfect car due to your mental health issues, and you're a person of means, and you have Range Rovers and Teslas, you don't go and buy cheap cars off of Gumtree. So a complete turnaround. And apparently he's saying to our subscriber that the subscriber now, despite having not said any of this before, stood over him, intimidated him, bullied him into buying the car apparently, and he was too scared to bring the car back with the V5 to get the refund. So this person that's got a court case, that has all this experience in going to court, that has already placed the court case in place, he's 100% going to win it. He's got a really, really good barrister, and he's going to see him in court, and he's going to make sure that he gets all his money back plus expenses in crash. Is now suddenly someone who has mental health issues, who needed a perfect car due to his mental health issues, and has £650 to buy a car, and it needed to be perfect. Now, obviously, not berating anybody with mental health issues is a serious thing, but this person, I think, is using it in completely the wrong way, and it's just gone from one extremity to the other, isn't it? It's just it's got to be one of the most bizarre things that I've come across with selling a car. And understandably, it's shook our subscriber pretty much to the point where they don't really want to sell cars off their driveway anymore. And I do think these people do target people that aren't car dealers, because a car dealer would know exactly where to put their foot down with this. But they target people that are inexperienced in selling cars. And I can only assume, based on the evidence in front of me, that this completely was just a scam, buyer's remorse, whatever, trying to get out buying the car. So as it stands now, it's all gone quiet, and no court papers have arrived with our subscriber, and they feel pretty confident, thanks to the support from you guys, that they aren't going to have any further problems. Hiya. Super clean car, really nice nick, and only done 50,000 miles odd. So normally you'd be buying something like about the 3.5 range. You're buying something with 100,000 miles on, aren't you? Oh, much appreciated. Thank you. So yes, hopefully that's the last our subscribers shall hear from that person, but I'll update you if you hear any more. Now, when I first put the video out regarding this, I said to you guys, if you've got any similar stories, let us know down below in the comments. And I'm pleased to say we were inundated with great stories. So let me know. I'm gonna share the most liked one here, but if you want to hear more of them, do let me know. Give me a comment down below. So the one that really caught me, and caught a lot of you guys as well, was one from Andrew. So thanks, Andrew, for putting it down below. He says here, exactly the same thing happened to me when I sold my Kia Sedona people carrier to a buyer. It passed an MOT at the main Kia dealership 2 weeks earlier and had a service history with Kia. But 3 days after the sale, the chap messaged him back to say that the steering rack was fractured, it was unroadworthy, and his £3,000 people carrier was now laid up at the local garage, unable to be used. And he wanted £2,000 in compensation, or he would take Andrew to court, all the normal stuff, blah 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 blah. So Andrew, being fair, said, well, no problem at all. I'll refund you for the vehicle then. I'll just wait for the V5, because obviously being registered this person. Wait for the new V5 to come in. Let me know when it's in, and I'll come and refund you. And the chap said, no. I want to keep the vehicle, but I want the compensation. And Andrew said, no, we're not doing that. When the V5 comes back, you can have the vehicle. More threats of what was going to happen, this, that and the other. Anyway, in the end, what Andrew did, this is really smart, is he, after this chap was threatening, he couldn't get his family back anymore, they were stuck for transport, this, that and the other. He decided, he had the guy's address, he decided to drive the 40 miles to his address, got there at 6:30 in the morning and sat himself outside. Then at 8:30 he witnesses this chap, his family, his kids, everything pile into the Kia Sedona that was actually sat on his driveway, not unable to be used, unroadworthy, sat at a garage. It was sat on his driveway. Everyone piled in it. They did the school run, everything, and then pulled up outside the petrol station for some fuel. So Andrew pulls alongside him at the petrol station. How are you doing? How's the car going? Obviously this guy's face completely dropped, and Andrew never heard anything from him again, surprisingly enough. So absolutely brilliant story. Thanks for sharing that one with us. Like I said, there were lots of other stories. If you guys are interested in hearing them, just bung a comment down below and we'll do another little catch-up video on this. So anyway, I guess the moral of the story is, when selling cars privately, obviously a lot of people put in the comments, I'll put sold as seen, and then then you're done and dusted. Trust me, writing something on a piece of paper doesn't get rid of these kind of people. So they're set out to do this kind of a scam. Writing sold as seen on a piece of paper is not going to protect you from anything. It's meaningless. The thing with it is by law, all private sales, unless you misdescribe the product, and unless you misdescribe the vehicle and say categorically something like the gearbox is fine and it turns out to be a problem, then you've got no comeback at all. Taking people to court isn't as easy as they want you to believe. You do have to do a letter before action before you can take someone to court, and judges aren't daft either. So when you get a bully like this, you get a scam person like this, immediately just say, right, you're threatening court, you're threatening action, please put everything going forwards in writing, because it's so easy for them to send a text message and bombard you with texts. Just ignore the texts, ignore the telephone calls, just say to them, right, okay, you're saying there's a problem, you're going to go to court, please put it all in writing and I'll respond to it in writing, and that will get rid of about 99% of people. And at the end of the day, even if they did go as far as putting a court case in, if you know that you haven't misdescribed the vehicle, you haven't really got anything to worry about. But they aren't going to do that because they're just chancing their arm, trying to get cash out of you by just hoping that if they bombard you and threaten you, that you're just going to fold and do something, pay something out to them. So anyway, thanks for sharing the stories. Thanks for watching the video. If you aren't already subscribed, which about 65% of you aren't, please hit that subscribe button down below. It doesn't cost you anything, just notifies you of videos as they come in and helps the channel. So as always, thanks for watching. Catch you again later. Literally, as I've stopped doing that recording, our subscriber that had the original story that we've helped out has sent this to me as a gift. So massive thanks for that. It's really, really appreciated. And I'm glad we could help you out and get rid of that nasty piece of work.
Just a quick reminder to get that special offer from Surfshark. Use the promo code CHOPS in the link in the description down below and get 83% off and 3 months extra free. Please do support those companies supporting Chops Garage. See you again soon.